How to let go and trust the universe. Have you ever clutched so tightly to something that your knuckles turned white? Whether it's a relationship, a job, or a particular vision of your future? Then suddenly realize that this desperate grip was exactly what was keeping happiness at bay? What if I told you that the moment you release that grip, that moment when you surrender control, is precisely when the universe can finally deliver what you've been seeking all along? Welcome back, beautiful souls. Today, we're diving into one of life's most profound paradoxes, that sometimes the path to receiving exactly what we need requires us to let go of our desperate need to control the outcome. This concept of surrender and trust isn't just some airy spiritual notion. It's deeply rooted in psychology, quantum physics, and the wisdom traditions that have guided humanity for thousands of years. But I understand how challenging this can be. Our minds are hardwired for certainty. We crave control because, evolutionarily speaking, control meant survival. So when I suggest letting go and trusting the universe, I'm asking you to override one of your brain's most fundamental programming. No wonder it feels so difficult. Perhaps you're struggling with anxiety about the future. Maybe you're holding on to a relationship that's clearly ended. Or perhaps you're forcing a career path that doesn't align with your soul's purpose. Whatever you're gripping too tightly, today's video will guide you through the transformative practice of surrender. And before we continue, I want to acknowledge this isn't about passive resignation or giving up. This is about active surrender, a profound shift in consciousness that can radically transform your experience of reality. The psychology of control. Let's start by understanding why letting go feels so threatening. Psychologists call it the illusion of control, our tendency to overestimate our ability to control events. Studies show that this illusion serves an important purpose. It helps us maintain hope and prevents depression. But there's a tipping point where this healthy mechanism becomes harmful. When we refuse to acknowledge the limits of our control, we set ourselves up for anxiety, disappointment, and burnout. We become like a person trying to direct the course of a mighty river with our bare hands, exhausted and ultimately unsuccessful. I experienced this myself when my publishing deal fell through 3 years ago. I had planned everything meticulously: the book tour, the speaking engagements, even the impact I thought my words would have on readers. When it all collapsed, I spiraled into despair. But that collapse created space for something unexpected. An invitation to teach at a retreat in Bali, which led to connections and opportunities I could never have orchestrated myself. Had I continued forcing my original plan, I would have missed the path that was genuinely meant for me. The wisdom traditions. This understanding isn't new. Eastern philosophies have taught the art of surrender for millennia. In Buddhism, it's expressed through the concept of non-attachment. In Taoism, it's the principle of Wu-Wei, effortless action that flows with the natural current of life rather than against it. Even in Western traditions, we find this wisdom. The Serenity Prayer asks for the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. The key insight across all these traditions is that surrender isn't weakness, it's wisdom. It's recognizing the difference between what lies within our control and what doesn't, the science of surrender. Interestingly, modern science is catching up to what spiritual teachers have known for centuries. Quantum physics reveals that the universe is far less predictable and far more interconnected than our classical Newtonian worldview suggested. Research in neuroscience shows that when we release attachment to specific outcomes, our brain's default mode network, responsible for rumination and anxiety, becomes less active. We enter a state of flow that allows for greater creativity, connection, and insight. Studies of highly successful people consistently show that while they work diligently toward their goals, they maintain a curious detachment about exactly how those goals will manifest. They remain open to unexpected opportunities and pivots. The paradox of manifestation. This brings us to a fascinating paradox in manifestation practices. Many people misunderstand manifestation as a form of demanding specific outcomes from the universe. But true manifestation isn't about control, it's about co-creation. When we set an intention but release attachment to exactly how that intention manifests, we open ourselves to possibilities beyond our limited imagination. We allow the universe, with its infinite wisdom and perspective, to deliver what we need, which may look different from what we think we want. Think about water for a moment. When water encounters an obstacle, it doesn't force its way through, it simply flows around, finding the path of least resistance. Water is both incredibly powerful and completely surrendered. That's the paradox we're exploring today. So how do we actually practice this delicate art of letting go while still moving purposefully through life? I have 5 practical techniques that have transformed my relationship with control and surrender. 1. Distinguish between goals and attachments. First, clearly separate your goals from your attachments. Goals are the direction you're moving. Attachments are demands about exactly how things must unfold. Try this exercise. Write down a current goal. Then underneath, write all the specific conditions you believe must be met for this goal to satisfy you. Now, challenge yourself. Could you achieve the essence of this goal in ways you haven't imagined? Could you be open to routes that might look entirely different but lead to the same destination, or perhaps somewhere even better? 2. Practice conscious uncertainty. Second, build your uncertainty muscle through daily practice. Start with small things. Take a different route home. Try a restaurant without researching it first. Say yes to an invitation that would normally make you hesitate. Each time you step into uncertainty intentionally, you're training your nervous system to become more comfortable with the unknown. You're teaching yourself through experience that unexpected outcomes aren't necessarily bad outcomes. 3. The surrender ritual. Third, create a personal surrender ritual. This can be tremendously powerful for releasing what you can't control. Here's a simple version. Write down what you're struggling to control on a piece of paper. Read it aloud, then say, I recognize that holding on to this is causing me suffering. I now choose to release my attachment to this outcome, trusting that whatever unfolds serves my highest good. Then physically release it. Burn the paper, safely. Dissolve it in water or plant it in soil. This symbolic act helps your subconscious mind understand that you're genuinely choosing to let go. 4. Expand your trust circle. Fourth, gradually expand what I call your trust circle. Start by identifying areas of life where you already trust the process. Perhaps you trust your body to breathe without conscious control. Maybe you trust the sun to rise each morning. Now, intentionally expand that circle to include slightly more challenging areas. Perhaps you can trust that if one opportunity falls through, another will emerge, or that if a relationship ends, it's making space for connections more aligned with your evolution. The key is to build this trust muscle gradually, creating evidence for yourself that surrender leads to positive outcomes. Daily gratitude for the unexpected. Finally, practice daily gratitude specifically for unexpected developments. Each evening, reflect on something unplanned that happened during your day and identify how it served you, even if that benefit wasn't immediately obvious. This trains your mind to look for the good in what you didn't control, building your capacity to trust life's unfolding. Remember, these practices aren't about achieving perfect surrender overnight. They're about developing a new relationship with control and uncertainty, one small step at a time. I want to end today's video by sharing something deeply personal. For years, I approached my spiritual practice like everything else in my life, with rigid determination and specific expectations. I meditated at precise times for precise durations. I journaled according to strict prompts. I followed manifestation techniques to the letter. And I was miserable because I had turned even surrender into something I was trying to control. The breakthrough came on a retreat where my teacher said something that changed everything. The universe has been trying to give you gifts your entire life, but your hands have been too full of your own plans to receive them. In that moment, I felt something shift deep within me. I realized that my constant striving was a form of distrust, a belief that if I didn't manage every detail, my life would fall apart. The truth was exactly the opposite. my life could finally come together when I stopped trying to micromanage its unfolding. So I invite you, beautiful soul watching this video, to experiment with open hands, to set clear intentions but release rigid expectations, to move purposefully but hold your plans lightly, because the universe has gifts for you that far exceed what your limited perspective can imagine. But to receive them, you must create space. You must trust. You must let go. If this message resonated with you today, please give it a like and share it with someone who might need this reminder. Leave a comment below sharing one thing you're ready to release control of, and support each other in this community of conscious surrender. And if you're new here, subscribe and hit the notification bell to join our growing family of souls committed to authentic spiritual growth. Until next time, remember, your surrender is not weakness, it is your greatest power. Trust the process, trust the timing, trust the unfolding, and most importantly, trust yourself to navigate whatever comes with grace. Peace, love, and infinite blessings.